Hello, I'm Natasha and welcome to the Kwacha Podcast, a space where we turn financial anxiety into action, especially for Zambia's civil servants. This is a special preview. Today, we'll share why this podcast exists, what topics we will be tackling, and the experts we will be talking to, and how we plan to help lighten the debt burden crushing so many of us. I'm joined by the Kwacha Podcast team, Mukafia and Matthews. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Natasha.
Wow, what is the Kwacha Podcast? Starting with you, Mukafia.
Thank you very much, Natasha. So basically, the Kwacha Podcast is a dedicated platform, which is focused primarily on transforming financial anxiety into actionable steps, especially for Zambia's civil servants. So it's a space where we address the real financial challenges, things like debt, budgeting, as well as financial stress. So we hope to be able to do this through practical advice, expert insights, as well as community stories. So our goal ultimately is to be able to empower our listeners with knowledge and be able to foster a supportive community and ultimately help build a financially resilient and dignified Zambia.
Okay, so what sparked the idea of the Kwacha Podcast? Matthews, you could help us with that.
That's a great question. As a civil servant myself, I saw colleagues drowning in debt, payday loans, medical bills, school fees. We work hard, but live paycheck to paycheck. I realized financial education isn't just a luxury. It's a survival. This podcast is our response. No jargon, no judgment, just practical steps to reclaim control.
Coming back to you, Mukafia, what specific topics will you cover?
Alright, thank you very much, Natasha. So what we are talking about are the real pain points, So we are talking about things like escaping the debt cycle. We are talking about payday loans, the informal loans that we popularly know as Kalowa. We are talking about things like budgeting on a civil servant salary. Budgeting on a civil servant salary is not child's play. We're talking about things like stretching the Kwacha. We'll be able also to talk about the side hustles for Zambians. So these are low investment legal opportunities that are available for everyone out there to try. We'll be able to talk about things like pensions and benefits, maximizing NAPSA, as well as public service loans. Also, very importantly, we also want to use this opportunity to address issues of mental health and money.
Yeah, mental health.
Being indebted comes with stress, shame, and things like that. So we want to be able to discuss some of the solutions that are workable. Exactly. And then we want to be able to let our listeners know that every episode will include actionable steps, not just theory, but practical things that we can do in our lives to be able to enhance our financial stability.
So now, Matthews, why focus on civil servants?
Well, we are focused on the civil servants because, these guys are the backbone of Zambia, yet financially vulnerable. But also, it's important for our audience to understand that overall, the issues that this podcast will tackle cuts across all corners of the society. For instance, everyone needs to learn to manage their finances. Not just civil servants. Everyone needs financial advice. So in a nutshell, this is for everyone, but with a special focus on civil servants, of course. For civil servants, sometimes limited raises and high living costs create a perfect storm. That debt becomes a trap for many people. We will address systemic challenges while empowering listeners with tools to protect themselves, their families, and their future. But like I said, this is for everyone,
How can this podcast actually help someone facing debt?
Okay, so thank you very much. So basically, we're looking at 3 ways for now. That is 1, knowledge. So through our discussions, we hope to be able to break down complex things. We're looking at things like compound interest, loan restructuring, MPRI. We get SMSs from the banks telling us that the Bank of Zambia has adjusted MPRI what does this mean? How does it impact us as people that are owing financial institutions? Then secondly, we want to be able to create a community. Through our advocacy on this platform, we want to be able to say, if you are facing financial pressures, you are not alone. So we'll be able to share stories as well as anonymize the struggles. And then the other important thing that needs to be taken note of is the fact that we are going to have an array of guests on this discussion. So we are going to have debt counselors, we are going to have successful savers, we are going to have lawyers that are going to be explaining your rights as someone who owes financial institutions. But it's important for us, everyone here, to know that we are not going to magically erase your debt, but we will give you the map to climb out of it.
Very interesting there. So now, what's your big vision for the podcast's impact?
Our big vision for this podcast is to see civil servants building generational wealth, fewer loan sharks preying on desperate families, more parents saving for their kids' education, a community that supports instead of shaming. This isn't just about money, it's about dignity.
Okay, so now coming back to you, Mukapia, who will be on this show?
So we want to be able to make this show very interesting. So we are going to have experts, we are going to have everyday heroes, we are going to have advocates. When we talk about these experts, we are going to have economists, financial planners, financial regulators. For example, we are going to have experts where they're going to come here and to explain what they are doing to ensure that people that are giving out these loans are properly registered and are actually operating within the law. Okay? So we are also going to have everyday heroes. We are talking about civil servants who have paid off huge debts. We are also talking about advocates. We are going to be hearing from voices pushing for fairer systems. So we want to be able to appeal to everyone out there. If you have a story, anonymous or not, please reach out. This is your platform too.
I'm sure you heard that. You have a story to tell, it could inspire somebody. Please do not relent. Get in touch with us so that you can share your story. It will help somebody out of debt and prevent them from probably taking their life or
mental stress.
Yes, some mental stress. So now, if you're tired of debt controlling your life, you are why this podcast exists. So follow this Facebook page now, wherever you are. Invite your friends and let's turn our financial anxieties into solutions. Thank you for believing in a debt-free Zambia.